Allow me to take you back for a moment to 2011, when the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim released to the applause of frat boys everywhere. Sure, the game carved out most of the role-playing and had more bugs than a Hollywood actor's blood work, but lens flare and dragon fights, am I right, guys? After that, Bethesda had the brilliant idea to release Elder Scrolls Online, and that game performed poorly at launch. And then they released Fallout 4, and while every shill and their dog hyped it to hell at launch, about a week later they kind of quietly admitted that it sort of sucked. And then came the fall of 76, a monument to pride and graft. So here we sit, asses firmly planted in the aftermath of Starfield, a game that had a new feature never before seen in a mainline Bethesda game: pronouns.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
Now, I thought that the game was okay overall, but I called this crap out then, and I agree with and stand by as on the retarded insertion of current year politics. I do think that the game got some things right, such as the sorta kinda reinstatement of classes, but it's not Elder Scrolls 6, and thus will always be a redheaded stepchild to me. Now, the game supposedly, according to Bethesda, had 6 million active players at peak across all platforms, and while I think that this number is probably inflated, I think that this game did make Bethesda a lot of money. But the problem is, it's the first game in a long while to actually do so. They have released game after game that flopped like a modern MCU project at launch, and so it is little wonder that they eventually sold out to Microsoft. And if you look at the timing, when Todd Howard said that the game came together and the acquisition of Bethesda by Microsoft, it's easy to see that Bethesda needed someone to bankroll them so that they could finish Starfield and hopefully keep the studio solvent without having to sell off sub-studios. Thus, I think that Microsoft probably had something to do with the insertion of the pronoun garbage, because they love their ESG. Now, why is this important? Because get broke, go woke, eventually croak. Bethesda owns a ton of sub-studios that have consistently put out subpar flops like Dishonored 2 and Dreadfall, or Fallout 76 and ESO. Some, like Redfall, were blatant in their ESG pandering, but others were just bad or not what people wanted, and thus made Bethesda very little money at launch. Starfield will not have as strong a legs as Skyrim due to it not being from a franchise with 30 years worth of fanbase behind it, and thus has probably made most of the money that it is going to already. And so, I would say that if Elder Scrolls 6 does not A, course correct and step back from current year politics, and B, actually be a well-made RPG, then it will flop and Bethesda may get added to the ESG pyre alongside Blizzard and the highly overrated Naughty Dog. If you doubt me further, look at BioWare, once the darling of the industry, running low on cash after the disastrous Mass Effect 3, and having made Dragon Age Inquisition, their last decent, if highly flawed game, before copying that game's homework of go around and hold up hand to object to progress plot with Mass Effect Andromeda. That game flopped because it was a buggy, broken ESG pandering pile of dog crap. And lastly, after that, they farted out Anthem, which put the whole studio on life support up until present. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case. I would like to know what you think down below. Maybe I'm onto something, maybe I'm not. This has been Pete, the Radical Nerd, signing off.